Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Lou, and in this video I just want to teach you guys basically the basic fundamentals to building a good creative, because as we know, YouTube is moving more towards emphasizing the creative, the quality of the work, and the advertising on their platform too. That's right, it doesn't just stop at the work like YouTube organic and stuff like that. It doesn't just stop there where you have to make good videos and they're emphasizing that point. It also means that the ads have to be better too, right? They have to be more personable, they have to be more interactive, they have to educate and entertain their viewers. And so I'm going to teach you just basically how to do that with your ads. So let's go ahead and just dive right into the Loom video. Okay, here we are guys in the Loom video. So let's go ahead and just dive straight in, right? So first thing to know before getting started with your ads is that the creative is going to be the biggest contributor towards your campaign performance, right? Which means that targeting still does matter, and you have to be good at media buying and, really get good at that. But your creative will be the biggest needle mover, okay? It's going to be the biggest thing that will entail the performance to key, like major KPIs like the click-through rate, and even like stuff like, the cost per lead, and just as you keep going. Of course, once you get into like the KPIs that are more on the lower end of the funnel, the ad matters less, right? Other things will matter more, like the VSL or whatever you got going on there. But the ad is super important. So let's go ahead and just keep going, right? And so, like I said, YouTube is moving from being like, it was once a really heavy SEO algorithm, like keyword search based kind of platform where you had to put the right keywords in your video in order for it to be right, specifically like in the keywords like section when you're uploading a video. Now that stuff doesn't really matter. A lot of creators don't even do that stuff anymore. And then also just like, just the other weird things that people would used to do, and then their video would get ranked on top of the search algorithm, right? That's not the same anymore, right? It's now more like a value-based, looking for better content. And we've seen YouTube really push this I had to fix that. Really, YouTube push this in the past few years, right? Where now the biggest metrics are click-through rate and watch time. So it's the same thing with ads, right? How long are people watching your ads? Watch time is pretty important, right? So yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. So that means you have to test not only on the media buying side at the targeting level and changing all the targeting and stuff like that, but also you should be testing different angles and hooks with your creative. And I'm going to get into later in this, I'm going to get into like what that looks like, how you should be testing, because those are two really big things, and you can really tangle them together. So you have to separate them and consider both their valuables separately, right? So let's go ahead and just dive into the main meat and potatoes of this, and that's going to be the hooks and just the whole structure, really. So starting with the hook, so first thing is that the hook is the most important part of the ad, okay? That is plain and simple, right? That first 20-30 seconds is really the main part of your ad, right? And depending on how long of your ad is, it's also going to be like a really long part. If it's like in a minute and a half ad, then that first 30 seconds is a long time, right? And will really detail like the direction the rest of the ad is going to go in terms of like the body and the clothes, right? So keep that in mind. The hook is super important. So developing a good hook is going to be the biggest factor to the performance of your ad. Okay, because if you have a bad hook, people are just going to click off. And I'm sure you've heard this a million times, but you've got to make sure you're doing good with hooks. But that means what you can do is, instead of testing like a bunch of different creatives that are like a bunch of different like full ads and having to copyright like all these ads and do this left and right and everything, you just need to really test the hooks, and then the hooks will tell you what you need to do with the rest of the ad. That's like the real like kind of key to this, right? Because the hooks is the main thing, right? Your click-through rate, if it's bad, it's because of your hook. If it's good, it's because of your hook. So then you can use that knowledge to cater the rest of your ad, the body and clothes, towards that angle, because there's going to be multiple angles for your offer. And you can see this here. I just gave like an example for my offer, right? YouTube ads. So there's different ways I can go about this, right? And not necessarily saying that these would be my hooks or anything, but like these are angles I could potentially take with my sales argument, right? And so I could use these sort of things in my hooks. Like for example, I could say attention is the most important currency, and having intent-based intention is so much better than having like, just like random attention like on Facebook ads or whatever it is, right? And so like, for example, this is one angle, right? Unlike other platforms, YouTube ads is an intent-based platform for those looking for a solution, right? That's one hook. That's not one hook, but that's one angle to take your hook in. right? That might work, might not, who knows, right? And then example 2, YouTube ads real strength lies in the ability to scale to a higher budget without the campaign suffering as much because of it. Because other platforms, it's harder to scale to a higher budget. It just takes more maintenance, where at the YouTube you have such a big pool to pull from. I can't speak English. You get the idea there, right? That's another angle I can take. Example 3, YouTube ads creates an ecosystem where you can run it alongside organic systems, especially like YouTube Organic. So that's another angle. That's another benefit. That's like another thing I could maybe emphasize in a hook, right? So all these things, your offers, you know what these are with your offer, right? Because you're selling your offer. And so you just need to get a couple and make them hooks and see which one does the best. Whichever one does the best, to lean towards that for the rest of the, body and clothes, right? And you can test, like it says here, you can test different creatives and differentiate the hook part. Once you find a hook that performs the best, you can mold the body and clothes to better match the tone and angle of the hook, right? Next thing, body and clothes. So these are actually pretty straightforward, right? Really, a lot of your energy should just be getting a good hook. But once you got that, then it's just body and clothes. It's pretty simple, right? So to do that, first thing with the body, you have to build authority and trust with the viewer. They don't know you. You've heard this a million times. So sometimes this could be done like telling them a quick story. Don't make it too long. It's a YouTube ad. It's not a VSL. Tell them a quick story, right? Share your offer and make it simple. Make it down to earth. If you're doing B2B offers, like, you don't want to sound too salesy or the samey or whatever. Sometimes it's just nice to be direct and be like, this is what it is. This is what you get. This is what you lose. Like, any bad things, this is what you lose. Like, you can just tell them, right? And that typically goes well. That's why, like, with B2B, sometimes shorter ads might work, just because people just want the thing. They aren't really playing around, right? So yeah, build authority, build trust, tell them how you got where you're at, like all that stuff, right? Emphasize your unique selling proposition, right? Emphasize why your offer is different from everybody else. Why you? That's very important with your ad. That's really just a fundamental to copywriting, but that's very important. So sometimes that could be like using a specific method, whatever it is, like saying like I use the RP4 method or something, whatever it is, right? Make it sound good, not too generic. And then, just keep it engaging, because people, I got this from Brian Moncada, right? Adspend.com. People are on YouTube to either learn, to be educated, or to be entertained. So try to do both, or, pick one. But like, honestly, you'd want to do both in your ads. So that means keep the editing engaging, not crazy engaging, especially for B2B, but keep it, looking nice, keep it smooth, keep things on the screen, and educate people, give them value, just like I'm doing here in this video, right? Next thing is the close, right? So this is pretty simple, pretty simple. Like, honestly, like I said, with the body and clothes, it's pretty simple, right? So straightforward call to action to click and then go towards the next step, right? You're not trying to get people to go, do all this crazy stuff like in the future or anything like, buy my thing, here's the price. No, it's just to click learn more or click the button near the video, right? And tell them what they get when they do that, right? And you can tell them, you can like foreshadow, I don't know how other way to say it, but you can foreshadow the next step and be like, click learn more, opt in, and book a call, right? You see, like, and you just make it simple. You don't have to say like click learn more and then opt in into this page and then book a call with us so that we can see if your team, like, you don't need to do all of that. Click learn more, opt in, and book a call. Have a picture of the page that they're gonna book, or have a picture of a page that they're gonna click on when they click on the ad. And it's very simple, right? Make the least friction and make a kind of not a big deal about it at the same time. You know what I mean? Next thing, right? Tell them what happens if they don't take action. And sometimes this means you have to involve urgency into your offer. So depending on what your offer is, a countdown timer saying like, I'm only taking a few clients due to the nature of my service, whatever it is, right? Involve some kind of urgency. That's pretty simple copywriting stuff. And like I said, show the next step in the ad. Sometimes that's good. Screenshot of the opt-in page or the application page or whatever you might have there. That can help a lot, right? Now that you have your ad built out, right, now you run it, you test it, you're running it with different targeting options, related keywords, specific keywords, all that stuff, right? Now it's about evaluating the performance to see the direction you should take your creative in as you move, right? And so the biggest thing here is that the click-through rate is going to be the main KPI for your front end, right, for your campaign. So it's going to be the main KPI for your ads themselves to see if your ads are performing good, right? Click-through rate, also a very important one, is just like cost per lead. Landing page conversion rate is also a big one, making sure that that is in line, because that means if those two things are not really in line, it could be because your ad is not resonating with your landing page, right? But just on the ad front, click-through rate, right? So anything above a 1% click-through rate is like, okay, it's good, right? It's okay, it's doing all right. You could improve it, but it's also doing okay, right? Anything above 1.5 click-through rate, it's a good ad, right? Just keep running it, keep optimizing it, see what happens when you test it with different targeting. But 1.5 is good, you got something going, and you should lean your ads more towards in that direction. And 2% is ideal, that's like the best, right? Real good, that's like really, really good, you know what I mean? So anything above 2%, and those ads typically last for a long time. So there's a lot of ads that have like a 2% click-through rates that are generating people that made them like literally years ago, and they're still making them money, right? So of course, over time though, ads will get ad fatigue, and just like over time, more and more people will watch it, so the performance will go down. But just keep this in mind when you're doing the ads. And when it comes to view rate, it's going to be around 20%. Right, 20%. Sometimes it's less, sometimes more. It's like a secondary metric you should watch, but really click-through rate is going to be the main needle mover for this first front end KPI, right? And so if the click-through rate isn't where you want it to be, but the view rate is, then check your call to action, right? Check to see where your call to action is, what's going on with that. See if it's like too passive or if it's not strong enough, whatever it is, right? And also check your ad length. It shouldn't be too long. Maybe you want to shorten it. Just do different tests, because sometimes that can be the case where people are watching it, it's resonating with people, but they're just clicking off or whatever. They're not really caring to view the rest. So maybe something you said isn't resonating, sounds too salesy at some point, whatever it is, right? So keep that in mind, right? And remember, like I said, there are two variables to take into account when looking at all of these metrics, right? You got your targeting, the media buying, and then the creative, right? So you got to test both and see how the ad performs in with both before making any adjustments. So that means, like, if the ad is not doing good in one campaign, it is getting less than a 1% click-through rate in one campaign with this kind of targeting, and then in another campaign it's doing good, then maybe it's not the ad that's the problem, it's just the targeting, right? But if all across the board, your entire account, your click-through rate just isn't that great, redo your ads. There's going to be some ads that do good in some campaigns and some that don't. So like, it's going to get complicated, as you keep managing it, but just keep track of everything. But of course, if it's across the entire account, the click-through rate isn't good, redo your ads. That's just what it means. And really, when we boil it all down, the ads could have like a 0.5 click-through rate, but if your return on ad spend is good, then keep running the ads, right? So remember your like Polaris star metric that you're aiming for, right? Which is return on ad spend. So you don't want to spend too much time like freaking out over the ads. But if you're reaching lower end KPIs that you want, cost per call, whatever it is, keep running the ads, right? And just keep testing new ads and see if the new ads can beat those old ones, but don't disable them, right? And so yeah, that's the entire thing. I hope that was insightful. Hopefully this video wasn't too long for you guys. Let me know if you guys got any questions in the comments. Like, share, whatever you guys want to do. Appreciate your time.